Here we are in part 3, where I'm taking a map and building it from start to finish. Right now, we're going to focus in on the land. I know from previous videos that I want there to be a lot of islands in this map, but I still need the islands to look good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this pen, I'm going to make it a little thicker than I typically draw it with, and let's draw an approximate page size. You know what we'll do? Let's copy and paste these a few times so that I've got a pretty even set here. We'll do 6 thumbnails. This is what I do when I am trying to get an idea of what I want that map to look like. And I learned this from cartooning and drawing, where you really concentrate on the silhouette of something to see if that works. And then if you've got a really good silhouette in drawing, that shape or that human or that figure, whatever that is, will work really well. And I think the same thing holds true with maps, actually, these fantasy maps. I want something, and what I recommend here is actually having a pen size a little bit bigger than you think you're going to need. So let's draw in there. I know I want some kind of continent or large island to anchor the bottom. A lot of it is trying out different things. So here you can see I've developed a little circle with something in the middle. Does that work? I mean, it's interesting. Let's do something else here, a little bit higher hook on this side. With each of these, I'll do a few variations to see what's sort of interesting to the eye. That one's okay. Each one's worth trying something a little bit different. You could even have a piece of land that goes really high. I don't mind that one. Anyway, I'll do a series of these. And when I find one that I like the most, I can iterate on that. I do it pretty quickly without thinking. I don't mind the look of that one actually, but I think having looked at all these, I'm starting to get an idea that maybe one side's higher than the other. I think that's just naturally interesting. And maybe vary the size of the islands a little bit. You know what? Sort of gives me an idea of that one. I think I can work with something like that. I'm going to draw it one more time. I'm going to iterate on this one. I like the look of that one the best. Something like that. And I like having that big island there. Another big one that comes up the side. Maybe actually something like this. And thinking back to my world building, there's something that I remember is I wanted there to be something like a power vacuum. Maybe a past civilization has gone the way of the dodo, and I'm thinking keeping a spot blank on the map there. Have it look something like that so you can tell that there was something in there, maybe a few islands to help make that shape. I think this is the winner. Very often the last one you draw will work, but sometimes if you really don't know what you're doing, you're like, oh, the second one, I need to work on that one. I think this one here probably has a lot going for it, and so I'll probably do a variation between these two. Now that I've done that, I am going to take this one, so I think it's on these 2 layers if I'm lucky. I'm going to cut that. Excellent. We can turn off all the rest. And we're going to paste that. And I am going to enlarge that. That's too big, but the page size didn't come along, but that's all right. And I can work with something like that. Apply the transformation. Perfect. What I'm going to do is I'm going to iterate on this a little bit. Maybe I'll speed through that so that you can see how I go about doing that. Put that into the background, and I will quickly draw out some of the shapes. I'm not going to follow those silhouettes behind it exactly. I knew that I needed to vary it a slight bit. I'm just trying to get it having a nice look. And one of the things I found important is I really wanted that area to look like something was missing. So I moved some of those islands. I liked how they looked together. And there I was thinking about, where's that ice going to go? Again, I haven't decided on the ice. I know I want it there. And that pretty much did it. Now that I have those islands sketched out, it's time to start drawing those in a real way. I have two decisions left. One is the width of the pen. I'll say one thing on that. If you draw it really thick outlined, it will make the map almost always look more cartoony. That's just the nature of that. I think I'm going to go, I've done this before, this pen width around 12 pixels. That very often works out quite well. It looks really thin compared to everything else, but I think it will work. The other thing I have to decide is the color. And I know from some of that world building, I didn't want to use a black outline. I'll make this thicker so we can see it. You can see that it's a brown, but I think that's what I want to do with it. Alright, I'll speed through this and maybe make some comments while I'm doing that. But here goes nothing. It's either the end of the beginning or the beginning of the end. Okay. Make that transparent, test the pen, and you can see drawing it from both directions just to get a sense of that line. I zoomed out and I really didn't like that line. Kept it in there, drew it again in a little bit less wavy. Liked it, went through the islands. You can see I'm following the outlines fairly closely. I did like where those islands were placed. Not following exactly, but pretty close. Giving some details on certain sides of the island just for some visual variation. Bigger islands there. You can see this next one I split. Just wanted to make it look a little bit different. And yeah, drawing these islands pretty quickly. And there you have it. I pretty much finished the main islands and I went in and added some smaller islands. I'll zoom in and out quite a few times just to get a sense of, is it balanced looking enough? Now, I have that one area there that was supposed to be that lost civilization, and I want to do something there, and I have an idea about how to hide that lost civilization. Looking at this, I'm pretty happy. I think it's quite balanced. I'm just looking around the edge of the page and it looks alright. I might be a little close to the right hand side, some of those islands, especially when I put the border in there. If I was doing this again, I would maybe consider having that border in there, just a sketch of it, just to make sure the islands don't squish against it too far. But we're going to go with it here, and I'll show you even if something is maybe perhaps a mistake, you know, sometimes you have to live with it or sometimes you can work around it. We'll leave that. And yeah, I'm pretty happy. Next video is on probably mountains. Mountains will be the next video, how to draw some mountains on this map. Of course, you can check out my book. A link to that is in the description. Okay, I'm getting excited. Mountains are up next.